you work together or you're friends?
No, I think you used to work.
I used to work here, so I'm friends with the managers. And then I come in and I annoy the staff. Well, not annoy them. I come in and ask them questions. Hey.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm very happy for the fact that I got to know you.
Yeah.
But before we reveal your story, what's your name?
My name is Oluwatobi. Everyone calls me Toby. I am a multidisciplinary artist, a sustainable designer. I work across dance, fashion, spoken word, and visual art. And then just wherever the story leads me, I express that, yeah.
And okay, so which one of these 3-4 things that you have mentioned do you like the most?
Oh, dance most likely is where I started. But through dance, I got a disability in both feet. So I would say I would say it's kind of all 4. I mostly express myself through dance and fashion. But for me, writing and painting the picture are equally important. It's all part of a whole. But I would say I'm most known for my dance and clothes.
What are you trying to express through should you call them hobby?
I wouldn't call them hobby. I call them passion. And for me, I think there are pieces of the story that I feel like don't get expressed in certain ways in different forms. And for me, sometimes part of the story are expressed better in different forms. So sometimes I can tell a story of my culture through a jacket. Sometimes I can tell it by writing a poem about something that happened to me. Sometimes I play a song from my home country and I dance to it. And sometimes I paint a picture about it. So for me, I look at it all as a form of storytelling. And I think growing up Black and Irish in Ireland, it's become more and more important to me to see what stories are told, how we see the story, who gets to tell the story, and also why we tell those stories. Because I realize quite often we only tell stories for a certain reason, to get this thing, to get that thing, to go there, to tell you why I deserve something. But sometimes it's just, like you said yourself earlier, Stefan, it's just nice to hear a story and be able to hear another human experience. And I look at all the different forms as that. So for me, they're actually all interconnected.
What is your story? What are you trying to pass on to people through dancing, clothing, and through everything that you do?
Oh, I would say freedom.
Freedom?
Freedom of self, freedom of expression. I think that's my core driver. I live in to be quite honest, a black body in a white country, and I grew up here. And there's a lot of things, even stories from my own country, that I'm only hearing for the first time now. But at the same time, I think we're at a point where there's a lot of need to be a particular somebody instead of being able to be your full self. So you kind of have to fit a particular character now. I know for me as a hip hop dancer, I can dress a certain way and I look like a hip hop dancer. But if I actually look at hip hop culture, there's so much more to that. And then I look at Irish culture, and then I look at Nigerian culture, and I think there's a very easy thing to do where you can commit to the version of you think you are. But for me, through my work, I'm always kind of challenging the narrative and then trying to express new forms of freedom.
What is the narrative from your experience?
Oh, the world wants what it wants, and sometimes it's hard to be yourself in that. Why? Because the way, as much as I hate to say it, because of the way the systems are set up. As much as it sounds like a conspiracy theory, again, I have to be a certain person in work, I have to be a certain person over there, I have to be able to be understood by people on the street, and sometimes for me, it feels like it's more freeing and more difficult to simply just choose to be yourself in whatever way that might play out throughout law. So I think we're supposed to fit in a particular way, and sometimes it's harder, even in yo, random. Come here for a second, real quick. This is my friend Adam. There's another person who's being awesome. There's another person who's being look at this, who's being himself. Yeah, this is Stefan.
Hello, how are you?
I just met for the camera in my face, so I thought I'd drag you into it.
Come see me in town.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah.
Love. But I think, we have certain roles we try to play, and I'm always asking myself if I'm being myself or just fitting myself into something else. And that also comes down to how I choose to dress. So a lot of where I came from, say, before I even got into fashion growing up, was I struggled to wear things that came from home. I also realized that things I wear that come from fashion culture don't necessarily express who I actually am, don't come in colors that actually fit my skin tone. don't represent me in the media. So a lot of it came from wanting to kind of free myself from all those things, but it also took a lot of learning. So in being free, I have to be committed to something. Yeah.
Okay. So, how can people come to the realization that they are not free? How can they free themselves?
Oh, it's tough. I'm gonna summarize it as whimsy. We need more whimsy. We need more play. We need more people who aren't afraid to let their inner child out. I think sometimes we're so busy trying to be adults and trying to get things right and trying to look good that we don't realize, hey, I think there's a particular way to look good. I might not feel good as myself. One of the things I talk about in fashion all the time is we get told who to be. This trend, that trend, this color this season, that color the other season, this brand to like buy your Louis Vuitton and your Christian Louis Vuitton red bottoms and you're gonna look great amazingly. We don't often take the time to get better knowledge of self and honor that basically.
And for that, your advice would be what? Spend more time, or what's your advice to?
Love yourself. Love yourself. Find some passions, and my favorite thing is to nerd out. Find one thing you enjoy and learn as much as you learn as much as you can about that thing. Not for the sake of getting bigger or making work, just for the sake of seeing something a bit better and then knowing, okay, this is for me, that's not for me, and that can just be a you thing, and someone else will have a different perspective on that thing. But I think more passion, more whimsy. Everyone's walking along Temple Bar right now. Why aren't more people skipping? You know? And I think it's those little things, those little whimsical things that free us on a daily basis. I think it's a lot to try and put it as, how do you realize you're trapped and how do you realize you're free? I think the actual, maybe the way to word it is we're human beings. That's hue, colors, all the hues of the rainbow. Man being, so being constantly changes. Today I might want a waffle. Tomorrow I might want a pancake. And allowing myself to simply allow that to shift for me is a little bit of freedom on a daily basis. As far as realizing you're trapped, look at me.
Basically, yeah. Did it work for you? Like this idea of being a nerd or nerdy or?
Yeah. Being a nerd is how I got into fashion. So I learned more. I didn't even know how to dress until I studied fashion. Because then I know about, again, Japanese fashion versus American fashion versus Irish traditional fashion versus Nigerian fashion versus costuming. So before studying and really learning what I thought I enjoyed, I would not have known even how that thing worked for me.
Okay, now, Bobby, what is your ikigai?
My ikigai, ooh, somewhere between all the things that I love and do. Right now, it's being an artist. It's being able to conversate with communities and express myself, whether that's through dance, fashion, visual art, or spoken word. And at the moment, my ikigai doesn't always work in terms of fitting into the world. So, because, for example, okay, fashion, I want to make all my stuff sustainably and make zero waste. If I did things the way the industry does, I might find a different ikigai, but that's not true to my values. So I could produce, in the space of time I make one collection, I could produce 6 collections of t-shirts. To somebody else, that's their ikigai, because that's the money they want to make. To me, that's not my ikigai, because I'm not doing it through my values. So I think it's also honoring my experience and my values as part of my ikigai and fitting with that sense of thought. Yeah.
Would you have a personal story that you like to share with us? Is it connected with your greatest passion, your ikigai? Something like
Ooh, okay. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I live with invisible disabilities in both feet, and I think it's actually probably the most honest one. So part of my ikigai has been, I spent years as a professional dancer in theaters, on stage, really thinking that's what I wanted. That led me to injuries from performance and whatever. I was very blessed to have opportunities. Opportunities led me to disability, and I basically spent 5 years kind of dealing with my health, questioning my dance while sat at a sewing machine. So the things you see me wear right now, I think for me are tied directly to my being and my ikigai. Because I spent 5 years sewing the same thing over and over again, trying to get it right, while also I guess letting go of things I thought were for me. So I think Ikigai shift for me. Some days I can dance, I dance. Some days I can't dance, I stress that I can't dance, and then eventually I make clothes. So I think probably the best story to summarize it would be just the journey of going from thinking I had to be a professional dancer to be a multidisciplinary artist and trying to maintain that. Sometimes broke, I'll be honest. Sometimes broke, sometimes in pain, but following that over 5 years while dealing with my disability has led me to meeting you. You know what I mean? And I think, yeah, that's probably the best thing I could tell. I don't think there's any one story I can tell. I think for me, the whole journey through thinking I'm supposed to be this thing fucking everything up, pardon my French, and then still journeying back to that same thing that once felt broken, I think is also part of Ikigai. And actually brings me then to what we were speaking about a minute ago, which is another Japanese concept, which is kintsugi, which is when something breaks, you don't simply throw it away or look down on it. You take the same pieces, you rebuild it, and you, excuse me, and you line the crack with gold so that there's still value in that item. And for me, Ikigai, like I think Ikigai and kintsugi work like this. So if my Ikigai at any point breaks, then I'm not Japanese, but I can then kintsugi it and put me back together while looking at those fractures as a part of the journey. What breaks, what is whole, without ever looking down on myself, basically.
Imagine you are 20, 30 years in the future.
Yeah.
You look back at yourself right now. What advice would you give to your youngest?
Ooh, advice to give my younger self. Same thing I'd give anybody. Keep going. I would, quite honestly, I gave up at points. If I hadn't kept going, I would not be here. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing, to keep going even when it only makes sense to you or when you don't quite fit into the world around you.
Yeah. That's easy.
Quite honest, I've lost some friends who struggle to keep going. So I think, yeah, my advice in 30 years to myself now will be keep going. You're right where you need to be.
Thanks for marking out. Let's see, what can people find you?
Oh, okay, cool, fun stuff. You will find me on Instagram at Toby.Tobe, Toby.tb. You'll find my clothes, the jeans, the bag, all this wonderful sustainable fashion at wahala_ie and also wahalastudio.com. Who knows? You might also find me performing at an event because I tend to be around the city a lot.
So why should people choose you and not someone else?
Why me and not anybody else? That's not a question. Jokes. I'm a lover at heart. I'm a very community-based person, and also all my stuff is made sustainably. So whether it's dance, visual art, community-centered, and also I don't really waste anything. And to me, everyone, listen, you don't have to choose me. If people choose me, great. As opposed to why people should choose me, because I'm lit, because I'm cool. And also because we gonna make some amazing stuff together.